All right, and we are live. Good morning, everyone. Today is March the 6th. We are already halfway through the second. Well, no, technically it's still the first week. Is it? No, well, no, it's weird because February has an extra day because of the leap year. So the 1st of March was the last Friday. So yeah, we're almost at the end of the first week of March already, which is pretty crazy. Time is flying by. Time is flying by. I've been really busy with rehearsals. I've been memorizing my lines slowly but surely. Um, so I've been busy with that. Here, let me give you guys something to look at instead of just a black void. 1 second. Let me change that. There we go. Okay, no more black void. Um, so there's that, and then yeah, I've been really busy. Um, also been busy with a few other things recently. Um, haven't gone to the gym this week, which I'm kind of, well, Monday, Tuesday, I haven't gone, which is okay. I still have like Wednesday to Sunday, but I need to go. I'm definitely going today. Gonna hit legs today for sure. Um, but yeah, besides that, that's pretty much it in terms of announcements. We're gonna continue the Backroom series. So we're gonna do another episode of that. We're gonna record probably we could probably record a few, honestly. I want to get a few of them recorded, and then that way by Friday, I can put together a whole bunch of them, and I'll have them ready for the next week. Although my other series just started, like part 4 out of 11 is coming out. It'll come out in 4 minutes, so there is that. Anyways, so last stream we did one of the backrooms levels. We used ChatGPT to come up with some details, so it's not a perfect one-to-one recreation of exactly the backrooms levels. It's got a little bit of um a little bit not originality but twist on it. A little bit of a twist on it. Next, a new level, please. Next level, please, with all the same details slash feedback I have given. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask it to do it shorter. Okay, interesting. Why is this one a survival difficulty class 3? Moderate risk. If it's the entities are low. It's interesting that it says it's survival difficulty class 3. Don't know if I agree with that. I would put that at, if anything, the Forgotten Library should be a class 3. Okay, I guess it could be. Class 3 is still low entity count, but it says it's unsafe and unsecure. Okay. So, we're getting the next one here. Relatively class represents. Okay. So here we go. Here's the next level. Did I?
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same.
Sorry, that's
Today's level is the Forgotten Library. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. Safety, unsafe.
okay. Here we go. Let's give this a try. Let's test the audio. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, testing. 1, 2. Okay, a little loud. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Perfect. All right. Let's do it. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. Survival difficulty class 2. Safety, relatively safe. Stability, stable. Entity count, low. Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Library, Aurelius finds himself in the Neon Arcade, a stark contrast with its vibrant lights and the constant din of electronic games. This level, with a survival difficulty class of 2, offers a more forgiving environment. It's considered relatively safe due to its stable structure and the low entity count of non-hostile beings known as the gamers. The arcade's atmosphere is a dizzying array of neon, which each... Okay, well, I already messed up because I forgot to include one piece of text. Here. Welcome to the back room. We'll do a trial run. We'll time it actually. Make sure I've got it under 2 minutes. I should be able to. This is about the same length. So 2 minutes, okay? And our time starts. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. Safety, relatively safe. Stability, stable. Entity count, low. Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Library, Aurelius finds himself in the Neon Arcade, a stark contrast with its vibrant lights and the constant din of electronic games. This level, with a survival difficulty class of 2, offers a more forgiving environment. It's considered relatively safe due to its stable structure and the low entity count of non-hostile beings known as the gamers. The arcade's atmosphere is a dizzying array of neon, with each arcade machine presenting a unique world to dive into. The gamers, engrossed in their digital realms, pay Aurelius no mind, embodying the arcade's seductive pull without posing any direct threat. Here, Aurelius realizes the arcade machines are not just for play, they are gateways to knowledge and tools essential for navigating the backrooms. However, the allure of the game serves as a test of willpower, a reminder of the risk of becoming too engrossed and losing oneself to the game. Discovering a particularly intriguing arcade machine, Aurelius engages with it, unraveling a puzzle that, once solved, grants him crucial insights for his journey. This encounter highlights the balance of risk and reward in the backrooms, pushing him to proceed with both caution and curiosity. The Neon Arcade, with its variable threats but overall relatively safe and stable environment, serves as a lesson in the importance of balance. It stands as a vivid, pulsating interlude in Aurelius's journey, a reminder that not all dangers in the backrooms are overt, and that wisdom can be found in even the most unexpected places. Okay, that was under 2 minutes. That was good. So we can definitely do it. No problem. I could even slow down slightly. Slightly. Not by much, but just like a hint at the beginning. Okay. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. Safety, relatively safe. Stability, stable. Entity count, low. Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Library, Aurelius finds himself in the Neon Arcade, a stark contrast with its vibrant lights and the constant din of electronic games. This level, with a survival difficulty class of 2, offers a more forgiving environment. It's considered No, I already messed up. Okay, I need to practice. Survival difficulty, because I keep muddling that. With a survival difficulty class of 2. Survival difficulty class, with a difficulty a survival difficulty class. Survival difficulty. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. Safety, relatively safe. Stability, stable. Entity count, low. Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Library, Aurelius finds himself in the Neon Arcade, a stark contrast with its vibrant lights and the constant din of electronic games. This level, with a survival difficulty class of 2, offers a more forgiving environment. It's considered relatively safe due to its stable structure and the low entity count of non-hostile beings known as the gamers. The arcade's atmosphere is a dizzying array of neon, with each arcade machine presenting a unique world to dive into. The gamers, engrossed in their digital realms, pay Aurelius no mind, embodying the arcade's seductive pull without posing any direct threat. Here, Aurelius realizes the arcade machines are not just for play. They are gateways to knowledge and tools essential for navigating the backrooms. However, the allure of the game serves as a test of willpower, a reminder of the risk of becoming too engrossed and losing oneself to the game. Discovering a particularly intriguing arcade machine, Aurelius engages with it, unraveling a puzzle that, once solved, grants him crucial insights for his journey. This encounter highlights the balance of risk and reward in the backrooms, pushing him to proceed with both caution and curiosity. And it's definitely within the time, so we're good on that front. Welcome Welcome to the backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. Yeah, it's much better audio wise. Same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. Stability, unstable. Entity count, moderate. In the heart of the backrooms lies the Forgotten Library, a vast repository of ancient knowledge where Aurelius finds himself. This level, fraught with variable threats, is deemed unsafe due to its moderate entity count, including the enigmatic archivists and insidious whisperers, and its unstable nature where pathways and doorways shift unpredictably. Aurelius navigates the labyrinthian aisles, his torchlight a small beacon against the oppressive darkness. The air is saturated with the scent of old paper and a constant whispering. Safety, relatively safe. Stability, stable. Entity count, low. Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Library. Count, low. Exiting. Low. Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Library. Aurelius finds himself in the Neon Arcade. A stark contrast with its vibrant lights and the constant din of electronic games. This level, with a survival difficulty class of 2, offers a more forgiving environment. It's considered relatively safe due to its stable structure and the low entity count of non-hostile beings known as the gamers. I might increase the gain just a little bit. It's a little low. The arcade's atmosphere is a dizzying array of neon. So it needs to be, the level that you want it to be at is anywhere between -3 -3 is the max. Sorry, -6. You want it between -6 and -12 dB. That's the golden area. -9 is like great. I mean, this is good
with each arcade machine presenting a unique world to dive into.
See, like certain areas, it's like it's low.
With each arcade machine presenting a unique world to dive into. Two.
Like that's okay. No, that's actually okay. That's actually okay. Never mind. That's fine.
2. The gamers, engrossed in their digital realms, pay Aurelius no mind. No mind, embodying the arcade's seductive pull without posing any direct threat. Posing any direct threat. Here, Aurelius realizes the arcade machines are not just for play. They are gateways to knowledge and tools essential for navigating the back rooms. However, the allure of the game serves as a test of willpower, a reminder of the risk of becoming too engrossed and losing oneself to the game. Discovering a particularly intriguing arcade machine. Discovering a particularly intriguing arcade machine. Aurelius engages with it. Unraveling a puzzle. Unraveling a puzzle. That once solved. Unraveling a puzzle that once solved. That once that a puzzle that once solved. Unraveling a puzzle that once solved. Grants him crucial insights for his journey. This encounter highlights the balance of risk and reward in the back rooms. Pushing him to proceed with both caution and curiosity. Welcome
Okay. So let's see here. I have specific. Yep, here it is.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. Safety, relatively safe. Stability, stable. Entity count, low. Exiting the silence of the Forgotten Library, Aurelius finds himself in the Neon Arcade, a stark contrast with its vibrant lights and the constant din of electronic games. This level, with a survival difficulty class of 2, offers a more forgiving environment. It's considered relatively safe due to its stable structure and the low entity count of non-hostile beings known as the Gamers. The arcade's atmosphere is a dizzying array of neon, with each arcade machine presenting a unique world to dive into. The Gamers, engrossed in their digital realms, pay Aurelius no mind, embodying the arcade's seductive pull without posing any direct threat. Here, Aurelius realizes the arcade machines are not just for play. They are gateways to knowledge and tools essential for navigating the backrooms. However, the allure of the game serves as a test of willpower, a reminder of the risk of becoming too engrossed and losing oneself to the game. Discovering a particularly intriguing arcade machine, Aurelius engages with it, unraveling a puzzle that, once solved, grants him crucial insights for his journey. This encounter highlights the balance of risk and reward in the backrooms, pushing him to proceed with both caution and curiosity.
Nice. Very nice.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. Safety, relatively safe.
All right, well, that's one. I'm feeling up for doing another, honestly. We could probably do like two more at this point, two more levels. So let's do more levels. Okay, interesting. The Deserted Metro. Zoom. Okay.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Neon Arcade. This level presents a survival difficulty.
Oh.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same.
All right. Time to do the next one. Excuse me. All right. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the deserted Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the deserted metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 2. No, that is just straight up wrong. No, it's not survival difficulty class of 2. It is a survival difficulty class of 4. Of 4. This is a dangerous level. This is a very dangerous level, actually. 4 means unsafe, unsecure, medium entity count. 5 is the worst. Yeah. So 4 is pretty bad in terms of danger. Yeah, safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. So it's not completely unstable. Entity count high. The only thing that could make this worse is if it was unstable and if it was survival difficulty class 5. And entity count was very high. Yeah, entity infestation. Which means that there's literally entities absolutely everywhere. Okay, let's try this again. Now I've got the right information, got that out of our system. Let's give this another shot. Excuse me. There we go. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Deserted Metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the neon arcade behind, Aurelia steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, is a stark departure from the relatively safety. Let's try again. I need to do a trial run first. That's what I need to do. I didn't do a trial run before. And we gotta time it. I need to do that for every level to make sure it's consistent. So we're gonna do just a trial run. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Deserted Metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the neon arcade behind, Aurelia steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, is a stark departure from the relative safety of the arcade. Its danger lies not only in the environmental hazards, but also in the high entity count and its moderate instability, with corridors and train cars that shift and change in disorienting patterns. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and stale air, the only light provided by flickering overhead lamps that cast long shadows. The sound of distant, unseen trains rumbles through the tunnels, a constant reminder of the level's deceptive nature. Here, the entities are more aggressive, shadows that stalk the platforms and abandoned carriages known as the Trackers. Their presence adds a palpable tension to Aurelius's exploration, requiring constant vigilance and stealth to avoid confrontation. Navigating the metro, Aurelius finds that each station holds its own set of challenges and secrets. Some platforms lead to dead ends, others to hidden rooms filled with supplies or cryptic messages left by previous travelers. The key to survival in this level lies in understanding the metro's unpredictable patterns and utilizing the brief moments of stability to make progress. Despite the dangers, Aurelius discovers an underlying order to the chaos. He learns to read the graffiti-adorned walls, which serves as guides and warnings from those who have navigated this level before. These messages, coupled with his own keen observation, help him predict the shifts in the metro's layout and avoid the most dangerous areas. So I need to read that faster. A lot faster. We'll try that again. Okay, let's try it again. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the deserted metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the Neon Arcade behind, Aurelia steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, is a stark departure from the relative safety of the arcade. Its danger lies not only in the environmental hazards, but also in the high entity count and its moderate instability, with corridors and train cars that shift and change in disorienting patterns. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and stale air, the only light provided by flickering overhead lamps that cast long shadows. The sound of distant, unseen trains rumbles through the tunnels, a constant reminder of the level's deceptive nature. Here, the entities are more aggressive, shadows that stalk the platforms and abandoned carriages known as the trackers. Their presence adds a palpable tension to Aurelius's exploration, requiring constant vigilance and stealth to avoid confrontation. Navigating the metro, Aurelius finds that each station holds its own set of challenges and secrets. Some platforms lead to dead ends, others to hidden rooms filled with supplies or cryptic messages left by previous travelers. The key to survival in this level lies in understanding the metro's unpredictable patterns and utilizing the brief moments of stability to make progress. Despite the dangers, Aurelius discovers an underlying order to the chaos. He learns how to read the graffiti-adorned walls, which serve as guides and warnings from those who have navigated this level before. These messages, coupled with his own keen observation, help him predict the shifts in the metro's layout and avoid the most dangerous areas. That is a lot. Um, I guess I could break this one up into 3. It might have to be that way, just so I can fit it all in. Yeah. It might have to be like that. Okay. That's okay. This is a more dangerous level. There's more description. It makes more sense. The other ones are like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like they're, difficulty class 2. It's not bad. It's not perfectly safe, but it's, it's okay. It's fine. It's doable. It's manageable. You know? You know what I mean? Uh it's actually been an hour, so I'm gonna take a quick break, 5-10 minutes, and I'll be back then, and we'll continue with backrooms levels. So yeah, I'll be back. All right, and we are back. Oh, I forgot to mention also right at the beginning. Sorry. This is part 48 of my journey to becoming a voice actor, which means we are two streams away from part 50. That is just crazy. So by next week, next Monday um will be part 50. That'll be crazy. And the reason why Monday I this week I did not stream because we would have done part 50 by this Thursday is solely because uh, I've had to do some extra stuff this week and didn't have time to stream. Also slept in a bit, which didn't help, and just yeah, life got in the way. But it's okay. We're still doing the streams. We're still keeping at it, which is the important part. So yeah. Okay. Let's do the next level. So the thing with this one, I mean, I might even make it. Well, no, because if I make it too short, it's gonna be like, it's gonna feel weird. Yeah, I have to have the details here. So we'll do this as Backrooms Part 3, The Deserted Metro. All right, here we go. We've got about 50 minutes. Sorry, scratch that. 41 minutes. Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Deserted Metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the neon arcade behind, Aurelia steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, is a stark departure from the relative safety of the arcade. Its danger lies not only in the environmental hazards, but also in the high entity count and its moderate instability, with corridors and train cars that shift and change in disorienting patterns. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and stale air, the only light provided by flickering overhead lamps that cast long shadows. No, I already messed up again. Try again. That was already a minute. Damn. Yeah, it's because of these two big paragraphs here. Yeah, because actually, yeah, this is a lot shorter. This is about like one. Yeah, bigger paragraphs. That's why. Oh, excuse me.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Deserted Metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the Neon Arcade behind, Aurelia steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, is a stark departure from the relative safety of the arcade. Its danger lies not only in the environmental hazards, but also in the high entity count and its moderate instability, with corridors and train cars that shift and change in disorienting patterns. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and stale air, the only light provided by flickering overhead lamps that cast long shadows. The sound of distant, unseen trains rumbles through the tunnels, a constant reminder of the level's deceptive nature. Here, the entities are more aggressive, shadows that stalk the platforms and abandoned carriages, known as the Trackers. Their presence adds a palpable tension to Aurelius's exploration, requiring constant vigilance and stealth to avoid confrontation. Navigating the metro, Aurelius finds that each station holds its own set of challenges and secrets. Some platforms lead to dead ends, others to hidden rooms filled with supplies or cryptic messages left by previous travelers. The key to survival in this level lies in understanding the metro's unpredictable patterns and utilizing the brief moments of stability to make progress. Despite the dangers, Aurelius discovers an underlying order to the chaos. He learns to read the graffiti-adorned walls, which serve as guides and warnings from those who have navigated this level before. These messages, coupled with his own keen observation, help him predict the shifts in the metro's layout and avoid the most dangerous areas. After what feels like an eternity of cautious progress, Aurelius finds himself before an out-of-place, modern-looking elevator, a stark contrast to the dilapidated surroundings. Its doors open silently, inviting him to step inside, understanding that this could lead to an escape or deeper into peril. He takes a deep breath and enters, the doors closing behind him as he leaves the deserted metro. Yeah, this will have to be in 3 parts. I have no choice. All right, let's take a listen, see how that sounds. Welcome to the Backrooms. Welcome to the Backrooms. Rooms, where no two levels are ever the same. The same. Today's level. Today. Today's level. Today's level is the deserted metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the Neon Arcade behind, Aurelia steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, difficulty class of 4. Survival difficulty class of 4 is a stark departure from the relative safety of the arcade. Its danger lies not only in the environmental hazards, but also in the high entity count. And its high entity count and its moderate instability. Also in the high entity count and its moderate instability. With corridors and train cars that shift and change. Train cars that shift and train cars that shift and cars that shift and change in disorienting patterns. The air in disorienting patterns. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and stale air. Scent of rust and stale air. The only light provided by flickering overhead lamps that cast long shadows. The sound of distant, unseen trains rumbles through the tunnels. A constant reminder of the level's deceptive nature. Here, the entities are more aggressive. Shadows that stalk the platform. Shadows that stalk the platforms and abandoned carriages. platforms and the platforms and abandoned carriages. And abandoned carriages, known as the trackers. The trackers. Trackers. The trackers. Their presence adds the trackers. Trackers. The trackers. Their presence adds a palpable the trackers. Their presence adds a palpable tension to Aurelius's exploration. This exploration requiring constant vigilance, requiring constant vigilance and stealth to avoid confrontation. Navigating the metro, Aurelius finds that each station holds its own set of challenges and secrets. Some platforms lead to dead ends. Some platforms lead to dead ends. Platforms lead to dead ends. Platforms lead to dead ends. Others to hidden rooms filled with supplies or cryptic messages left by previous cryptic messages left by cryptic messages left by messages left by previous travelers. Filled with supplies or cryptic messages left by previous travelers. The key to survival in this level lies in understanding the metro's unpredictable patterns. And utilizing the brief moments of stability. To make progress. Despite the dangers, Aurelius discovers an underlying order to the chaos. He learns to read the graffiti-adorned walls.
I'm just gonna get the phone in case it rings. Let me get it real quick. Okay. Let's continue with the editing.
Adorned walls, which serve as guides and warnings from those who have navigated this level before. These messages, coupled with his own keen observation, help him predict the shifts in the Metro's layout. Predict the shifts in the Metro's layout and avoid the most dangerous areas. After what feels like an eternity of cautious progress, what feels like an eternity of cautious progress, Aurelius finds himself before an out-of-place, modern-looking elevator. A stark contrast to the dilapidated surroundings. Surroundings. Dilapidated surroundings. Its doors open silently. Inviting him to step inside. Understanding that this could lead to an escape. Or deeper into peril. He takes a deep breath and enters. The doors closing behind him as he leaves. The deserted metro.
Alright, let's give that a listen.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the Deserted Metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the Neon Arcade behind, Aurelius steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, is a stark departure from the relative safety of the arcade. Its danger lies not only in the environmental hazards, but also in the high entity count and its moderate instability, with corridors and train cars that shift and change in disorienting patterns. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and stale air, the only light provided by flickering overhead lamps that cast long shadows. The sound of distant, unseen trains rumbles through the tunnels, a constant reminder of the level's deceptive nature. Here, the entities are more aggressive, shadows that stalk the platforms and abandoned carriages, known as the Trackers. Their presence adds a palpable tension to Aurelius's exploration, requiring constant vigilance and stealth to avoid confrontation. Navigating the metro, Aurelius finds that each station holds its own set of challenges and secrets. Some platforms lead to dead ends, others to hidden rooms filled with supplies or cryptic messages left by previous travelers. The key to survival in this level lies in understanding the metro's unpredictable patterns and utilizing the brief moments of stability to make progress. Despite the dangers, Aurelius discovers an underlying order to the chaos. He learns to read the graffiti-adorned walls, which serve as guides and warnings from those who have navigated this level before. These messages, coupled with his own keen observation, help him predict the shifts in the metro's layout and avoid the most dangerous areas. After what feels like an eternity of cautious progress, Aurelius finds himself before an out-of-place, modern-looking elevator, a stark contrast to the dilapidated surroundings. Its doors open silently, inviting him to step inside, understanding that this could lead to an escape or deeper into peril. He takes a deep breath and enters, the doors closing behind him as he leaves the deserted metro.
Ooh. Very cool. Very, very cool. I love it. All right. There is our third level.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same. Today's level is the deserted metro. This level presents a survival difficulty class of 4. Safety, dangerous. Stability, moderately unstable. Entity count, high. Leaving the colorful chaos of the neon arcade behind, Aurelius steps into the dimly lit, echoing vastness of the deserted metro. This level, marked by a high risk with a survival difficulty class of 4, is a stark departure from the relative safety of the arcade. Its danger lies not only in the environmental hazards, but also in the high entity count and its moderate instability, with corridors and train cars that shift and change in disorienting patterns. The air is heavy with the scent of rust and stale air, the only light provided by flickering overhead lamps that cast long shadows. The sound of distant, unseen trains rumbles through the tunnels, a constant reminder of the level's deceptive nature. Here, the entities are more aggressive, shadows that stalk the platforms and abandoned carriages, known as the Trackers. Their presence adds a palpable tension to Aurelius's exploration, requiring
All right, guys, I'm just checking something really quickly. All right. All right. Let me just, before I forget, put all these files.
Welcome to the Backrooms, where no two levels are ever the same.
Okay,
Today's
otherwise-
level.
Yeah, all right, all right. I got it. I get it. I get it. Yeah, where no two levels are ever the same. Da 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 da. Blah blah blah. All right. I will be back in like 5 minutes, and then for the last hour, we are going to read more of Marcus Aurelius's meditations. So I will be right back. Okay, let us finish off today's stream with an hour of reading, shall we? Hmm. Mhm. Okay, so I'm just gonna put something on. I like this one a lot. All right. So, let us continue with Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Last book we read, because the chapters are called books here. So we read 2 books. We read book 2, Among the River Gran, on the River Gran among the Quadi, talking about how essentially we have the power to control what it is that we worry about. Which kind of sounds obvious, right? I mean, like, yeah, okay, obviously we have, yeah, I can choose to not, give a fuck about anything. But what he's trying to really say is that the power we have over the control of our own mind and our perception of, the world and issues and external things distracting us is we have the power to essentially make those external factors something that cannot even be considered. Something that is as just natural as nature itself, like the wind or water, taking the path of least resistance. And he actually delves into, overthinking and how it is a waste of time to do so because you need to focus on the present. The only thing that is certain is the time you have right now, in the present moment. The future is never guaranteed. So you make the most of everything you absolutely can in the moment. And we also talked about desires, pursuing pleasures, and how in doing so, you taint your mind. And that you should instead focus on things that make you a better person overall as a whole, in the mind and the body. And essentially to not let your desires control you, that you control them. And with that, let's move on to book 4. 1. Our inward power, when it obeys nature, reacts to events by accommodating itself to what it faces, to what is possible. It needs no specific material.
It pursues its own aims as circumstances allow. It turns obstacles into fuel. As a fire overwhelms what would have quenched a lamp, what's thrown on top of the conflagration is absorbed, consumed by it, and makes it burn still higher. 2. No random actions, none not based on underlying principles. 3. People try to get away from it all, to the country, to the beach, to the mountains. You always wish that you could too, which is idiotic. You can get away from it any time you like, by going within. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul, especially if you have other things to rely on. An instant's recollection, and there it is, complete tranquility. And by tranquility, I mean a kind of harmony. So keep getting away from it all, like that. Renew yourself, but keep it brief and basic. A quick visit should be enough to ward off all blank, and send you back ready to face what awaits you. What's there to complain about? People's misbehavior? But take into consideration that rational beings exist for one another, that doing what's right sometimes requires patience, that no one does the wrong thing deliberately. And the number of people who have feuded and envied and hated and fought and died and been buried. And keep your mouth shut. Or are you complaining about the things the world assigns you? But consider the two options, Providence or atoms, and all the arguments for seeing the world as a city. Or is it your body? Keep in mind that when the mind detaches itself and realizes its own nature, it no longer has anything to do with ordinary life. The rough and the smooth, either one. And remember all you've been taught and accepted about pain and pleasure. Or is it your reputation that's bothering you? But look at how soon we're all forgotten. The abyss of endless time that swallows it all. The emptiness of all those applauding hands.
Let's read that again. Or is it your body? Keep in mind that when the mind attaches itself and realizes its own nature, it no longer has anything to do with ordinary life, the rough and the smooth, either one. And remember all you've been taught and accepted about pain and pleasure. Or is it your reputation that's bothering you? But look at how soon we're all forgotten. The abyss of endless time that swallows it all. The emptiness of all those applauding hands. The people who praise us, how capricious they are, how arbitrary, and the tiny region in which it all takes place. The whole earth, a point in space, and most of it uninhabited. How many people there will be to admire you, and who they are. So keep this refuge in mind, the back roads of yourself. Above all, no strain and no stress. Be straightforward. Look at things like a man, like a human being, like a citizen, like a mortal. And among the things you turn to, these two. 1. That things have no hold on the soul. They stand there unmoving, outside it. Disturbance comes only from within, from our own perceptions. 2. That everything you see will soon alter and cease to exist. Think of how many changes you've already seen. Quote, "The world is nothing but change. Our life is only perception." End quote. 4. If thought is something we share, then so is reason. What makes us reasoning beings? If so, then the reason that tells us what to do and what not to do is also shared. And if so, we share a common law, and thus we are fellow citizens, and fellow citizens of something. Just gonna set a timer here for 50 minutes. And if so, we share a common law, and thus are fellow citizens, and fellow citizens of something. And in that case, our state must be the world. What other entity could all of humanity belong to? And from it, from this state that we share, come thought and reason and law. Where else could they come from? The earth that composes me derives from earth, the water from some other element, the air from its own source, the heat and fire from theirs, since nothing comes from nothing or returns to it. So thought must derive from somewhere else as well. 5. Death. Something like birth, a natural mystery, elements that split and recombine. Not an embarrassing thing, not an offense to reason or our nature. 6. That sort of person is bound to do that. You might as well resent a fig tree for secreting juice. Anyway, before very long, you'll both be dead. Dead
and soon forgotten. 7. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. 8. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you, inside or out. 9. It was for the best, so nature had no choice but to do it. 10. That every event is the right one. Look closely and you'll see. Not just the right one overall, but right, as if someone had weighed it out with scales. Keep looking closely like that, and embody it in your actions. Keep to it in everything you do. 11. Not what your enemy sees and hopes that you will, but what's really there. 12. Two kinds of readiness are constantly needed. 1. To do only what the logos of authority and law directs, with the good of human beings in mind. 2. To reconsider your position, when someone can set you straight or convert you to his. But your conversion should always rest on a conviction that it's right, or benefits others, nothing else, not because it's more appealing or more popular. 13. You have a mind? Yes. Well, why not use it? Isn't that all you want? For it to do its job? 14. You have functioned as a part of something. You will vanish into what produced you. Or be restored, rather, to the logos from which all things spring, by being changed. 15. Many lumps of incense on the same altar. One crumbles now, one later. But it makes no difference. 16. Now they see you as a beast, a monkey. But in a week, they'll think you're a god. If you rediscover your beliefs and honor the logos. 17. Not to live as if you had endless years ahead of you. Death overshadows you. While you're alive and able, be good. 18. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do. Only what you do. Is this fair? Is this the right thing to do? Blank. Not to be distracted by their darkness. To run straight for the finish line. Unswerving. 19. People who are excited by posthumous fame forget that the people who remember them will soon die too, and those after them in turn, until their memory pass from one another like a candle flame, gutters and goes out. But suppose that those who remembered you were immortal, and your memory undying. What good would it do you? And I don't just mean when you're dead, but in your lifetime. But in your own lifetime. What use is praise, except to make your lifestyle a little more comfortable? You're out of step,
neglecting the gifts of nature to hand on someone's words in the future. 20. Beautiful things of any kind are beautiful in themselves and sufficient to themselves. Praise is extraneous. The object of praise remains what it was, no better and no worse. This applies, I think, even to beautiful things in ordinary life, physical objects, artworks. Does anything genuinely beautiful need supplementing? No more than justice does, or truth, or kindness, or humility. Are any of those improved by being praised, or damaged by contempt? Is an emerald suddenly flawed if no one admires it? Or gold or ivory, or purple, lyres, knives, flowers, bushes? That's interesting. That's very interesting, actually. 21. If our souls survive, how does the air find room for them, all of them, since the beginning of time? How does the earth find room for all the bodies buried in it since the beginning of time? They linger for whatever length of time, and then, through change and decomposition, make room for others. So too with the souls that inhabit the air. They linger a little, and then are changed. Diffused and kindled into fire, absorbed into the logos from which all things spring, and so make room for new arrivals. One possible answer. But we shouldn't think only of the mass of buried bodies. There are the ones consumed on a daily basis by us and by other animals. How many are swallowed up like that, entombed in the bodies of those nourished by them? And yet, there is room for them all, converted into flesh and blood, transformed to air and fire. How is the truth of this determined? Through analysis, material and cause. 22. Not to be driven this way and that, but always to behave with justice and see things as they are. 23. To the world, your harmony is mine. Whatever time you choose is the right time, not late, not early. To nature, what the turn of your seasons brings me falls like ripe fruit. All things are born from you, exist in you, return to you. The poet says, "Dear city of Cecrops, can't you bring yourself to say, of Zeus?" 24. If you seek tranquility, do less, or, more accurately, do what's essential, what the logos of a social being requires, and in the requisite way, which brings a double satisfaction, to do less, better. Because most of what we say and do is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time and more tranquility. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? But we need to eliminate unnecessary assumptions as well, to eliminate the unnecessary actions that follow. That's very, very wise. That's something I need to do, actually. Lots of unnecessary. things. 25. And then you might see what the life of the good man is like. Someone content with what nature assigns him, and satisfied with being just and kind himself. 26. You've seen that. Now look at this. Don't be disturbed. Uncomplicate yourself. Someone has done wrong to himself. Something happens to you. Good. It was meant for you by nature, woven into the pattern from the beginning. Life is short. That's all there is to say. Get what you can from the present, thoughtfully, justly. Unrestrained moderation. 27. An ordered world or a mishmash, but still an order. Can there be order within you and not in everything else? In things so different, so dispersed, so intertwined. 28. Character. Dark, womanish, obstinate. Wolf, sheep, child, fool. Cheat, buffoon, salesman, tyrant. 29. Alien. One who doesn't know what the world contains or how it operates. Fugitive. One who evades his obligations to others. Blind. One who keeps the eyes of his mind shut tight. Poor. Requiring others, not having the necessities of life in one's own possession. Excuse me. Rebel. One who is rebellious. One who withdraws from the logos of nature because he resents its workings. It produced you. Now it produces this. Schismatic. One who separates his own soul from others with the logos. They should be one. 30. A philosopher without clothes, and one without books. I have nothing to eat, says he, as he stands there half naked, but I subsist on the logos. And with nothing to read, I subsist on it too. 31. Love the discipline you know, and let it support you. Entrust everything willingly to the gods, and then make your way through life, no one's master, and no one's slave. 32. The age of Vespasian. For example, people doing the exact same things, marrying, raising children, getting sick, dying, waging war, throwing parties, doing business, farming, flattering, boasting, distrusting, plotting, hoping others will die, complaining about their own lives, falling in love, putting money away, seeking high office and power. And that life they led is nowhere to be found. Or the age of Trojan, the exact same things, and that life too, gone. Survey the records of other eras, and see how many others gave their all and soon died and decomposed into the elements that form them. But most of all, run through the list of those you knew yourself, those who worked in vain, who failed to do what they should have remained fixed on and found satisfaction in. A key point to bear in mind: the value of attentiveness varies in proportion to its object. You're better off not giving the small things more time than they deserve. 33. Words once in common use now sound archaic, and the names of the famous dead as well. Camillus, Caeso, Felicis, Dentidus, Scipio, and Cato, Augustus, Hadrian, and Antoninus, and everything fades so quickly, turns into legend, and soon oblivion covers it. And those are the ones who shone. The rest, unknown, unasked for, a minute after death. What is eternal fame? Emptiness. Then what should we work for? Only this: proper understanding, unselfish action, truthful speech, a resolve to accept whatever happens as necessary and familiar, flowing like water from that same source and spring. Hand yourself over to Clotho voluntarily, and let her spin you into whatever she pleases. 35. Everything transitory, the knower and the known. 36. Constant awareness that everything is born from change, the knowledge that there is nothing nature loves more than to alter what exists and make new things like it. All that exists is the seed of what will emerge from it. You think the only seeds are the ones that make plants or children? Go deeper. 37. On the verge of dying and still weighed down, still turbulent, still convinced external things can harm you, still rude to other people, still not acknowledging the truth that wisdom is justice. 38. Look into their minds, at what the wise do and what they don't. 39. Nothing that goes on in anyone else's mind can harm you, nor can the shifts and changes in the world around you. Then where is harm to be found? In your capacity to see it. Stop doing that, and everything will be fine. Let the part of you that makes that judgment keep quiet, even if the body it's attached to is stabbed or burnt, or stinking with pus, or consumed by cancer. Or to put it another way, it needs to realize that what happens to everyone, bad and good alike, is neither good nor bad. That what happens in every life, lived naturally or not, is either natural or unnatural. 40. The world as a living being, one nature, one soul. Keep that in mind, and how everything feeds into that single experience, moves with a single motion, and how everything helps produce everything else, spun and woven together. 41. A little wisp of soul carrying a corpse. Epictetus. 42. There is nothing bad in undergoing change, or good emerging from it. 43. Time is a river, a violent current of events, glimpsed once and already carried past us, and another follows and is gone. 44. Everything that happens is as simple and familiar as the rose in spring, the fruit in summer, disease, death, blasphemy, conspiracy, everything that makes stupid people happy or angry. 45. What follows coheres with what went before, not like a random catalog whose order is imposed upon it arbitrarily, but logically connected. And just as what exists is ordered and harmonious, what comes into being betrays an order, too. Not a mere sequence, but an astonishing concordance. 46. Remember Heraclitus. Quote, when earth dies, it becomes water. Water, air. Air, fire. And back to the beginning. Those who have forgotten where the road leads. They are at odds with what is all around them, the all-directing Logos, and they find alien what they meet with every day. Our words and actions should not be like those of sleepers, for we act and speak in dreams as well, or of children copying their parents, doing and saying only what we have been told. 47. Suppose that a god announced that you were going to die tomorrow, or the day after. Unless you were a complete coward, you wouldn't kick up a fuss about which day it was. What difference could it make? Now recognize that the difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small. Recognize that the difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small. Fuck. That is... It's true. That is very true. I'm gonna open up the chat just in case you guys are talking at all. There we go. There we are. 48. Don't let yourself forget how many doctors have died after furrowing their brows over how many deathbeds. How many astrologers after pompous forecasts about others' ends. How many philosophers after endless disquisitions on death and immortality. How many warriors after inflicting thousands of casualties themselves. How many tyrants after abusing their power of life and death atrociously, as if they were themselves immortal. How many whole cities have met their end. Helic. Helike. Herculaneum. Calcisubs. And all the ones you know yourself, one after another. One who laid out another for burial, and was buried himself, and then the man who buried him, all in the same short space of time. In short, know this. Human lives are brief and trivial. Yesterday, a blob of semen. Tomorrow, embalming fluid. Ash. To pass through this brief life as nature demands, to give it up without complaint, like an olive that ripens and falls, praising its mother, thanking the tree it grew on. 49. To be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. 49. It's unfortunate that this has happened. No, it's fortunate that this has happened, and I've remained unharmed by it, not shattered by the present or frightened of the future. It could have happened to anyone, but not everyone could have remained unharmed by it. Why treat the one as a misfortune rather than the other as fortunate? Ugh. Can you really call something a misfortune that doesn't violate human nature? Or do you think something that's not against nature's will can violate it? But you know what its will is. Does what's happened keep you from acting with justice, generosity, self-control, sanity, prudence, honesty, humility, straightforwardness, and all the other qualities that allow a person's nature to fulfill itself? So remember this principle when something threatens to cause you pain. The thing itself was no misfortune at all. To endure it and prevail is great good fortune. 50. A trite but effective tactic against the fear of death. Think of the list of people who had to be pried away from life. What did they gain by dying old? In the end, they all sleep 6 feet under. Cadicianus, Fabius, Julian, Lepidus, and all the rest. They buried their contemporaries and were buried in turn. Our lifetime is so brief, and to live it out in these circumstances, among these people, in this body, nothing to get excited about. Consider the abyss of time past, the infinite future. 3 days of life or 3 generations. What's the difference? 51. Take the shortest route, the one that nature planned, to speak and act in the healthiest way. Do that, and be free of pain and stress, free of all calculation and pretension. Very, very interesting. Let's continue. Book 5. I think the book 4 was definitely my favorite so far. That was really, really interesting. Very cool. Book 5. 1. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of? If I'm going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into the world to do, or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm. But it's nicer here. So you were born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing them? Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants and spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can, and you're not willing to do your job as a human being? Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? But we have to sleep sometime. Agreed. But nature set a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking, and you're over the limit. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There, you're still below your quota. You don't love yourself enough. Or you'd love your nature too, and what it demands of you. People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. Do you have less respect for your own nature than the engraver does for engraving, the dancer for the dance, the miser for money, or the social climber for status? When they're really possessed by what they do, they'd rather stop eating and sleeping than give up practicing their arts. Is helping others less valuable to you? Not worth your effort? 2. To shrug it all off and wipe it clean, every annoyance and distraction, and reach utter stillness. Child's play. 3. If an action or utterance is appropriate, then it's appropriate for you. Don't be put off by other people's comments and criticism. If it's right to say or do it, then it's the right thing for you to do or say. The others obey their own lead, follow their own impulses. Don't be distracted. Keep walking. Follow your own nature. And follow nature along the road they share. 4. I walk through what is natural, until the time comes to sink down and rest, to entrust my last breath to the source of my daily breathing, fall on the source of my father's seed, of my mother's blood, of my nurse's milk, of my daily food and drink through all these years, what sustains my footsteps, and the use I make of it, the many uses. 5. No one could ever accuse you of being quick-witted. All right, but there are plenty of other things you can't claim you haven't got in you. Practice the virtues you can show: honesty, gravity, endurance, austerity, resignation, abstinence, patience, sincerity, moderation, seriousness, high-mindedness. Don't you see how much you have to offer beyond excuses like can't? And yet you still settle for less. Or is it some inborn condition that makes you whiny and grasping and obsequious? It makes you complain about your body and curry favor and show off and leaves you so turbulent inside. No. You could have broken free a long way back, and then you would have been only a little slow. Not so quick on the uptake. And you need to work on that as well. That slowness. Not something to be ignored, let alone to prize. 6. Some people, when they do someone a favor, are always looking for a chance to call it in. And some aren't. But they're still aware of it, still regard it as a debt. But others don't even do that. They're like a vine that produces grapes without looking for anything in return. A horse at the end of the race. A dog when the hunt is over. A bee with its honey stored. And a human being after helping others. They don't make a fuss about it. They just go on to something else, as the vine looks forward to bearing fruit again in season. We should be like that, acting almost unconsciously. Yes, except conscious of it. because it's characteristic of social beings that they see themselves as acting socially and expect their neighbors to see it too. That's true, but you're misunderstanding me. You'll wind up like the people I mentioned before, misled by plausible reasoning. But if you make an effort to understand what I'm saying, then you won't need to worry about neglecting your social duty. 7. Prayer of the Athenians. Zeus, rain down on the land and fields of Athens. Either no prayers at all, or one as straightforward as that. 8. Just as you overhear people saying that the doctor prescribes such and such for him, like riding or cold baths or walking barefoot, say this: nature prescribed illness for him, or blindness, or the loss of a limb, or whatever. There, prescribed means something like ordered, so as to further his recovery. And so too here. What happens to each of us is ordered. It furthers our destiny. And when we describe things as taking place, we're talking like builders, who say that blocks in a wall or a pyramid take their place in the structure and fit together in a harmonious pattern. For there is a single harmony, just as the world forms a single body comprising all bodies, so fate forms a single purpose, comprising all purposes. Even complete illiterates acknowledge it when they say that something brought on this or that. Brought on, yes, or prescribed it. And in that case, let's accept it, as we accept what the doctor prescribes. It may not always be pleasant, but we embrace it, because we want to get well. Look at the accomplishment of nature's plans in that light, the way you look at your own health, and accept what happens, even if it seems hard to accept. Accept it because of what it leads to, the good health of the world, and the well-being and prosperity of Zeus himself, who would not have brought this on anyone unless it brought benefit to the world as a whole. No nature would do that, bring something about that wasn't beneficial to what it governed. So there are two reasons to embrace what happens. One is that it's happening to you. It was prescribed for you, and it pertains to you. The thread was spun long ago by the oldest cause of all. The other reason is that what happens to an individual is a cause of well-being and what directs the world, of its well-being, its fulfillment, of its very existence even, because the whole is damaged if you cut away anything at all, from its continuity and its coherence. Not only its parts, but its purposes. And that's what you're doing when you complain, hacking and destroying. Nine, not to feel exasperated or defeated or despondent because your days aren't packed with wise and moral actions, but to get back up when you fail, to celebrate behaving like a human, however imperfectly, and fully embrace the pursuit that you've embarked on, and not to think of philosophy as your instructor, but as the sponge and egg white that relieve
that relieve ophthalmia. Ophthalmia. As a soothing ointment, a warm lotion, not showing off your obedience to the Logos, but resting in it. Remember, philosophy requires only what your nature already demands. What you've been after is something else again, something unnatural. But what could be preferable? That's exactly how pleasure traps us, isn't it? Wouldn't magnanimity be preferable, or freedom, honesty, prudence, piety? And is there anything preferable to thought itself, to logic, to understanding? Think of their sure-footedness, their fluent stillness. 10. Things are wrapped in such a veil of mystery that many good philosophers have found it impossible to make sense of them. Even the Stoics have trouble. Any assessment we make is subject to alteration, just as we are ourselves. Look closely at them. How impermanent they are. How meaningless. Things that a pervert can own, a whore, a thief. Then look at the way the people around you behave. Even the best of them are hard to put up with, not to mention putting up with yourself. In such deep darkness, such a sower, in the flux of material, of time, of motion, and things moved, I don't know what there is to value or to work for. Quite the contrary. We need to comfort ourselves and wait for dissolution, and not get impatient in the meantime, but take refuge in these two things. 1. Nothing can happen to me that isn't natural. 2. I can keep from doing anything that God and my own spirit don't approve. No one can force me to. 11. What am I doing with my soul? Interrogate yourself to find out what inhabits your so-called mind and what kind of soul you have now. A child's soul, an adolescent's, a woman's, a tyrant's soul, the soul of a predator, or its prey. 12. Another way to grasp what ordinary people mean by goods. Suppose you took certain things as touchstones of goodness, prudence, self-control, justice, and courage. Courage, say. If you understood goods as meaning those, you wouldn't be able to follow that line about so many goods. It wouldn't make any sense to you. Whereas if you'd internalize the conventional meaning, you'd be able to follow it perfectly. You'd have no trouble seeing the author's meaning and why it was funny. Which shows that most people do acknowledge a distinction. Otherwise, we wouldn't recognize the first sense as jarring and reject it automatically. Whereas we accept the second, the one referring to wealth and the benefits of celebrity and high living, as amusing and apropos. Now go a step further. Ask yourself whether we should accept as goods, and should value,
The things we have to think of to have the line make sense. The ones whose abundance leaves their owner with no place to shit. 13. I am made up of substance and what animates it, and neither one can ever stop existing any more than it began to. Every portion of me will be reassigned as another portion of the world, and that in turn transformed into another. Ad infinitum. I was produced through one such transformation, and my parents too, and so on back. Ad infinitum. NB. Still holds good, even if the world goes through recurrent cycles. 14. The Logos and its employment are forces sufficient for themselves and for their works. They start from their own beginning. They proceed to the appointed end. We call such activities directed, from the directness of their course. 15. Nothing pertains to human beings except what defines us as a human. No other things can be demanded of us. They aren't proper to human nature, nor is it incomplete without them. It follows that they are not our goal, or what help us reach it, the good. If any of them were proper to us, it would be improper to disdain or resist it. Nor would we admire people who show themselves immune to it. If the things themselves were good, it could hardly be good to give them up. But in reality, the more we deny ourselves such things and things like them, or are deprived of them involuntarily, even, the better we become. And I think that is where we will end our reading for today. So, very interesting. I really, really love how he writes. It's very, very engaging. And there's the timer. So with that, I think we will finish our reading for today. But very interesting. A lot of excellent points about how to live our lives to the fullest, essentially. How it makes no difference whether we live for 3 more generations or 3 more days. Right? It is the same amount of time. Now, obviously you hear that and you're like, oh, what? Like, yeah, that's not the same amount of time. It's way longer. But I think the message that he tries to get across, which I think is really important, it's a really good message, is that how our perception of time, it does not matter. Because tomorrow could be the same length of time in our perceived minds as years from now. Because we don't know what will happen. So I think it's interesting how he talks about that. And also there's one quote in particular here. I know I said I was finished, but I'll reread it here. Let's see. Yes, here it is. Suppose that a god announced that you were going to die tomorrow, or the day after. Unless you were a complete coward, you wouldn't kick up a fuss about which day it was.
What difference could it make? Now recognize that the difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small. The difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small. That's one section that I feel is very important out of everything I've read here so far. Difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small. And when you really think about it, he's not wrong. He's right. The difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small because we may not, right? You might not have years from now. But you also might not have tomorrow. It's like that other quote, right? Tomorrow is never guaranteed. So really, really interesting. I'm really glad I finally picked it up. I've been wanting to read through all this for a while, and we still have a good chunk to read through. Over 120 pages, I think, to read through still. Because we started recently, but it's very, very interesting. So I think that is where I'll end the stream for today. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it as always. This has been part 48 of my journey to becoming a voice actor. Tomorrow will be part 49, and then next Monday will be part 50. It's crazy to think that I've been doing these streams for over 3 months now, and part 50 is next week. 50 parts. And just as Marcus Aurelius says, right? You have to just keep pursuing what it is that you want. And even if you fail, you got to pick yourself back up. And, you know, I still haven't found anything in terms of professional work to become a voice actor. I've done some side gigs, but the journey goes on. But the thing is even when I do become a voice actor, right? And I make it, right? When I finally get my first big job at an agency or whatever it may be in the future, the journey doesn't stop there. It doesn't. Because the real journey of becoming a voice actor is, yes, obviously there is, you know, you have to become recognized to have more people become interested in you so that you can get more work, yada, 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 whatever. Yes, that's part of it. But another part of it is also acknowledging that you have to keep learning. You can never stop learning. And even when I do make it and get the first big job, and hopefully the rest snowballs from that, and I get more gigs and get a little bit more recognition, start making some decent money, I still have to improve on myself, right? And the thing is, I'll never truly become a, you know, master voice actor. I can become really, really good, but anyways, I'm rambling on. The point of the long and short of that is that even when I do make it, I still have much to learn, and you never stop learning. And that's the whole point of that. So, with that being said, thank you to everybody that tuned in. I really, really appreciate it. And I will see you all in the next stream tomorrow, hopefully on time at 9 a.m. I started a bit late today, so I apologize for that. But I will see you all tomorrow morning. So until then, take care.